Hello everybody, I'm Michael. I'm 34 years old. I have never had a girlfriend in my life. These videos are difficult to make. I'm gonna make another video about my situation. The last woman I talked to in person was in July of 2015. I used to be on a website called Plenty of Fish. I would send random emails to a lot of women, and some of them actually replied, and a few times I actually did manage to meet some women in person. I saw this girl in person. We met at a fireworks display. It was too loud. And then she worked 60 hours a week at the restaurant. And then she had me pick her up at her house, which I thought was suspicious because I thought no woman would ever want me to come to her house to get her. And then I wish I had waited on the porch while she was getting ready. I don't know what she was doing. And there was a barking dog in the cage. And I was afraid of the dog. And the woman asked me what was wrong. And I can't stand it when people ask me what's wrong. I can't stand it when people ask me whether I'm comfortable. I can't stand it when people accuse me of being uncomfortable. Then there was another girl who met me at a bowling place. And then we met right after that. We went to a Panera Bread place, a restaurant. And she was bigger than me, like twice as fat as me. And I screwed up and talked about food. I think I turned her off. And then she started telling me that she was bipolar and she had an episode where she couldn't sleep for 8 days and her parents had to take her to the hospital. I never talked to her or saw her after that meeting. And then there was another girl who we met in another bowling place, but we met on a Friday night. But the Tuesday before we met, she stopped talking to me. And I called her, and she said she was riding in a car, and she hung up right after that. And then when we met, she barely talked to me at the bowling place, and she was in a hurry for me to leave. Her dad and her brother were on a men's only league that was playing on half the lanes at the place. And for like 45 seconds, her brother came to check on her. And then, right after we finished our 2 games, she said, "Well, the door is right over here. Well, I'm gonna stay here and wait till the league's over." And then never heard from her again. I've written back and forth to multiple other women, but the website just didn't work for me after that girl who I met at the fireworks display, and I quit using Plenty of Fish. Before I used Plenty of Fish, it was on a website called OkCupid.com, but that didn't work good. I think I got kicked out of OkCupid because I contacted at least 3 women 3 different times and they didn't reply, but I have no clue why OkCupid stopped working. Like, the site technically stopped working. There's 2 ways OkCupid stopped working. Women didn't write to me, and then the site wouldn't let me log in. So I have no clue whether I really got kicked out of the site because the people who created OkCupid.com don't do customer service. And then there was a girl in high school who talked to me, and sometimes I feel like I massively screwed up And one time I asked her if she wanted to see me. I asked her on the phone, and she said no. She said she was prudish. And I didn't know what that meant, and I tried to find it in the dictionary, and I couldn't find it. And then another kid in high school made a joke about me and her getting head. I had no clue what that meant, but it sounded like it was something bad, and I didn't like it. There was another girl who briefly talked to me in the lunchroom. I called her to ask her if she'd go to the prom with me, even though I didn't really want to go, but I felt like it was my duty to try to find someone to go with me. She said no. So during the high school prom, I sat in my parents' house. And then in college, there was this one time when for some reason I was walking from my classroom to a dormitory building with this girl, and I was too anxious. I felt like I was doing something wrong. And this girl said she was afraid of squirrels, and I said, well, it's not like they chase you, and I feel like that's the stupidest thing I could have said, and I didn't talk enough. So I feel that I've had missed opportunities, but I've always been afraid to interact with people, and I think it's because my dad has meltdowns and tantrums due to Asperger's syndrome, and I always felt like if I talked, I always wanted to talk about my dad. I didn't talk in school, or I barely talked in kindergarten to 12th grade. And then it seemed like it was common knowledge among all the kids, at least all the kids in elementary school, that I was mentally retarded. And so I've always felt like I'm supposed to be mentally retarded, which makes absolutely no sense according to objective observations. Obviously, I went to college. I didn't even want to go to college, but I went to college anyways in order to avoid feeling too guilty about myself due to the possibility of not doing what I thought I was supposed to do. I actually have a job where I sit in a cubicle all day, and I don't have a lot of interaction with people at work. And I come home from work and I sit in my apartment. And I was in a board game playing group until early this year. And I contacted these two girls who were members in name only. They were members of the board game group, but they never showed up. And then they must have complained at the group leader. And I got kicked out of the board game playing group. And then I just assume that all women look at me and they just think like I'm like dangerous or like I'm like a creepy person or something. I think creepy is a label I've heard that women assign to men if the man doesn't look good enough. So I really am not doing anything to try to talk to women, and women don't just talk to me at events. One time I went to a running group, but I only went one time, and the people all ran faster than me. And then I've been on bowling leagues. Bowling leagues didn't do anything for me. Like, people didn't just talk to me at the bowling leagues. There was this one girl on the bowling league that I wanted to like, but I tried asking her if I could talk to her, and I think you're not supposed to do that. And then she said no in a meek manner. I felt like I massively screwed up. My parents met each other at a Jewish event in 1980. They accidentally sat next to each other. I feel like my parents are both autistic. I can't wrap my brain around how my parents operate. Like, they're not interacting with each other enough. I think if I found a woman who acted like my mom, there wouldn't be enough interaction, and I wouldn't want to be around her. I think my parents superficially understand how relationships are supposed to work, but they don't deeply relate with each other, not sincerely liking each other. They don't dislike each other, but it's a very superficial kind of lack of interaction. So that's a little bit about how I've not interacted with anybody. I have no clue what I'm going to do to try to get to talk to women. I know I was taught that I'm supposed to marry Jewish. I was afraid to talk to non-Jewish women until I was 27. So that's about all I'm going to say.